in order for a company to be great on the stock market, they have to have a good product. In order for a business to be, in order for me a good hustler, I got to have a good product. In order for the company to have they got to have great revenues, they got to have a great profit. In the streets, if I can be a great hustler, I have to know how to turn my revenues into profit. I got to have more than re-up money. It has to be money that I can re-up with and then go get some more and pay my bills. Yeah, you have to learn that. And
today we're going to talk about how street hustlers have the same skill set of a lot of America's great businessmen. We have an interview of the Wall Street Trapper, right? He was interviewed by Lewis Howes. Let's get straight to it.
A lot of rich white dudes. And they not risking their life. And they was talking about numbers I had never heard of before. Yeah. Numbers I knew I could never make selling dope. Numbers I knew I could never make robbing nobody. And I was just like, yeah, I'm playing the wrong game. So I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I remember reading about a guy named Reginald Lewis. And I was like, okay. Because his book was Why the White Guys Have All the Fun. He built $1 billion empire off private equity. And I was like, oh, I could play this game. And so I would watch CNBC and I couldn't get it. Because I couldn't understand it. They were speaking in a language that was just, I was like, I ain't never heard that before. And I never forget.
He said he would watch CNBC and they were speaking in a language that they had never heard before, that he had never heard before. Think about it. It's a lot of guys out in the streets. What's the terminology they use to describe the certain type of drugs, to describe the quantity of drugs, right? To describe all of these different aspects of the drug world, right? Or the hustling world, right? That businessmen won't understand, right? All you have to do is adapt the mindset, understand what the terminology is, understand how shit works, and then, you'll be able to operate in that world. But let's continue listening.
They was talking about tariffs and what they are. And tariffs were simply taxes that people pay for other countries pay for coming, hustling in the United States. And in my mind, I said, well, that's the equivalent to paying draft. So a draft is like, let's say you live in one hood, I live in one hood, you want to come hustle over here. I say, Lewis, you got to pay me some money to come over here. That's a tariff.
I'll leave you alone as long as you pay me.
As long as you pay me. I was like, oh, this reminds me of the streets. And then a friend of mine named Chris Kellogg, he used to get the USA Today. And so when I was in prison, I used to run numbers. I was a bookie. And I remember him telling me, you always get the sports section. Why you never get the business section? You always looking at CNBC. I was like, man, nobody ain't looking at the business section. He said, well, you looking at stocks. This is the part you need to be looking at. I was like, yeah. So I remember I started reading that from him. So every time he would get the USA Today, I would pay him to give me just the business section.
Just to give you some context, this is when the Wall Street Trapper was in prison. He served 10 years for attempted murder, right? And while he was in prison, this is where he gained his financial knowledge and his financial acumen, being around the people that he was around, studying the things that he studied. But let's continue, because he's going to talk more about how things translate from the drug game or the business, from that game to the business world, right? So let's continue.
And I would just read it. And then it just started clicking to me. It reminded me literally of the streets. In order for a company to be great on the stock market, they have to have a good product. In order for a business to be, in order for me a good hustler, I got to have a good product. In order for the company to have they got to have great revenues, they got to have a great profit. In the streets, if I can be a great hustler, I have to know how to turn my revenues into profit. I got to have more than re-up money. It has to be money that I can re-up with and then go get some more and pay my bills. Yeah, you have to learn that. And on the stock market, if a company has a good moat, a competitive advantage, they can beat off their defenders. Well, if I'm a hustler, if I got a good product, if I got a good price, I got good packaging, if I'm always out there, if I'm always available, I got a moat.
You're like 7-Eleven, baby.
It's popping.
You're always open.
I'm open. You know what I'm saying?
Hold up. Absorb that real quick. Absorb that. Think about what he just said. if I got a good product, if I got good packaging, if I got good pricing. Think about that, right? And this is how he looked at the business world and said, okay, this is how I invest in stocks, right? They got to have these essentials. The same essentials that they have to have in the business world is the same essentials that they have to have in the drug world, right? Keep listening.
And so I was like, yo, this remind me of the streets. It's no different. And so once I was able to make that connection in my mind, I said, I could be the next Warren Buffett.
Wow.
Like, I could be the next Warren Buffett.
So were you teaching yourself and reading books then for the most of those years, or did you have someone else in there teaching you? Was it all self-taught?
Everything was self-taught in prison. Kind of like nobody was really on it. Like everybody was like on sports. Real estate was the thing. Like everybody in prison wants to come home and get into real estate.
Really?
Everybody wants, and that was one of the things that Robert Kiyosaki talks about. Real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. So, that's kind of like the thing.
But that's really what I wanted to bring home to you guys, man. It's a lot of y'all who may lack confidence in the business world. You may lack confidence in stocks, or you may lack confidence in understanding real estate. But listen, all it takes is for you to apply yourself to the information, apply yourself to understanding that world, right? You had to apply yourself to understand, okay, what's an eighth? How much is a pound? You know what I mean? How much does a pound go for? How much does an eighth go for? How much does a 3/5? All of that difference. You had to understand that stuff. What are the different terminologies for the drugs that I'm selling? You had to understand that stuff, learn that stuff. And the same way that you learned that, the same way that you had to figure that out is the same way that you can go into the business world, apply yourself to the information. Bro, you intelligent, bro. You smart, bro. If you can risk your life for all of that and get all the time, bro, why not dedicate your life to understanding how money works, right? Why not? It's a better long-term payout. You see, a lot of us, we think about the short term. We don't think about what's the long-term effects of what I'm doing. We think, I know what car I want. I know I need to be able to pay these bills. I know I need to do X, Y, Z. And so I want to go with the route that's going to get me there quickest. Bro, that's not exactly the answer, right? Because when you think about the longevity, you don't know how long you're going to live, right? There's a lot of guys out there who live long beyond what they expect. And so when you don't think and plan for the long term, then you put yourself in position to when you get down the road, you have no investments, you have no savings, you have nothing, right? Because you focused on getting it all up front in the early parts of your life. Well, guess what, guys? You're going to have to take your time out to learn the skill of making money, right? And I did a video just recently, 3 principles for success in money, right? And those 3 principles I mentioned is what the Wall Street Trapper mentioned. He mentioned, right? First thing you got to do is stop exchanging your time for money. Second thing you got to do is make your money work for you. Third thing you got to do is provide value to the people, right? You cannot make it happen without doing those 3 things. You can't put yourself in a successful financial position if you don't do those 3 things. Right? But look, that's all I wanted to let you guys know, man. I need you guys that's out in the streets hustling, making your money, understand that life is not a long-lived life. It's just like the rap game. You know what I mean? How long are people famous in the rap game? Right? It's similar. 15 minutes of fame and that's it. Dead in jail. That's it. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comment section. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Salute.